What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's happening? This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you could, hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification button to make sure you stay up to date with all of my Teachable Tuesdays content. Just to give you guys a heads up, we have quite a few videos coming up this week, including finishing off the sexual assault slash harassment awareness series. We're going to be finishing up that on Thursday. So yeah, you might want to stay tuned for the next 4 days. Make sure you keep your notifications on. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. What are you waiting for? Because I have a lot of people that are checking out my videos that are not subscribed yet. And yeah, what are you waiting for? So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Figured we jump into a fun discussion tonight. Try not to be too long. I always say that, and then I hope it's not too long. But anyways, I was on Instagram, which if you don't already do so, follow me on Instagram, ACTRealMC, and that is ACTREALEMCEE, like the rapper. That's an MC, all that good stuff. But yeah, I did a poll, and I asked 2 questions. And there's a third thing that I want to address as well that I'll address towards the end of the video. But the first question was, when it comes to being friend zone, right? Let's say you like a man or you like a woman. Let's say they friend zone you, right? And let's say a couple months later, or a couple years later, they end up kind of coming back around and trying to get with you, right? So I asked a number of people if it was true or false that they don't really want you and they're settling and you weren't their first choice. So 52% said it was true. 48% said it was false. Pretty interesting. And it's really interesting because at first a lot of people were saying true, and then people started coming in and saying false later on. So, pretty even just about. Then the second question I asked was, dating is complicated these days. It's very hard out here to date. So who's to blame? Could it be men? Could it be women? Or could it be both? 8% said men. 12% said women. And 80% said both. So overwhelming amount of individuals, both men and women, agreed that both are the problem, right? So then I asked a follow-up question to that, why do you think men are the problem? Why do you think women are the problem? Why do you think both are the problem? And I got some interesting responses. It wasn't as many people that gave an open response compared to people that voted, but still, I appreciate anybody who voted. Greatly appreciate the feedback as always. And we're going to talk about it today. So let's talk about the friend zone. What is the friend zone? Now, I've addressed the friend zone time and time again on this channel, but in case you're new to the channel or you just need a refresher, friend zone is when somebody pretty much denies you access from anything past a friendship level with them, and also demonstrating that they have no romantic or sexual interest in you whatsoever. So that is considered the friend zone, right? And the reason why I say romantic or sexual interest is because there's other categories that I'm not going to quite get into right now. That's another video for another day. But yeah, basically, when someone doesn't have a romantic interest in you, 9 times out of 10, they probably put you in the friend zone. For example, my fellas, let's say you tried to holler at a lady and you expressed how you were feeling. You were like, I really like you and I want to get to know you more. And she might say, oh, I only see you as a friend, or I see you like a brother. That means you have been friend zoned. That means you have no chance, in my personal opinion, of getting with that individual ever, right? And so I'll address my opinion, and I'll address why I think it was kind of split down the middle. My opinion is, if you get friend zoned by somebody, man or woman, you have no chance of getting out that friend zone. And even if you do somehow get out of the friend zone, let me rephrase that. It's a slight chance you get out the friend zone, but the person won't really want you for you. 9 times out of 10, if you get out the friend zone, it's because they probably ended up settling for you. Now, a lot of people, they may disagree with how I feel. They might say, well, Marcus, what if they just found out you were a dope individual? In a sense, that can happen, but that's more on the rare side of things. And even if that does happen, I guarantee you're still not the first choice and a top tier person that they wanted. And I know, people say all the time, well, nobody was ever really anybody's first ever choice. But I think that's the problem with dating. We get so frustrated and not getting what we truly desire that we end up just settling for the next best thing. But we're not really willing to give the next best thing our best because we want to give the best thing our best, but that best thing didn't want us. Yeah, no, that's a bit of a tongue twister. Just let that sink in for a second, right? So it's one thing, right? And I want to make something clear. It's one thing if you were friends with an individual, right? Y'all two were friends for a long time, and y'all grew interest in each other, and maybe one decided, I think we're just better off being friends as opposed to trying to take us any further because I don't want to mess up the friendship. That's a little bit of a different story. I mean, I know some people will say that's friend zone, but that's a more acceptable friend zone as opposed to somebody that you strictly like. Because if it was somebody that you were friends with for a long time, and let's just say feelings developed, and that person just decided that you were only good as a friend, then at least you guys were friends in the first place and you have a foundation of a friendship. But when you're trying to date somebody, that person is not technically your friend. So when they try to friend zone you, it's kind of like, well, I don't want that. I want more. And if you try to be friends with them, it kind of gives it a false sense of reality when you really want something more. So that's why I say if somebody friend zones you and that's a person that you really like, you're probably better off just moving forward. I always tell women all the time because this is very true. I have a lot of women that are friends of mine. So if a woman tries to friend zone me, I tell her straight up, I don't need any more friends. I got plenty of friends, especially women that are friends. And sometimes they'll try to say, well, I mean, you could always use more. You can never have too many friends. Yes, you can. And in my case, yes, I can. And, that's my way of saying, look, I don't want to be in the friend zone, so I appreciate your honesty, but I'm going to move on that way. All right? So that's just my personal opinion. I mean, some people may feel otherwise. It's interestingly enough, I know a lot of people will think that only women were saying that the friend zone was okay because typically that's what people think. No, in my survey, it was a lot of men and women that felt that you can get out of the friend zone. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that person is settling for you. So, pretty interesting. Now, to the second part, as far as who were mostly at fault for dating. And it's interesting for the people that said women were at fault, which, like I said, that was 12%. Wasn't really any explanations as to why people said women were at fault. They just voted. So I can't really speculate as to why they might have felt that way. As far as the few people that voted men, a lot of the comments came from, more so along the lines that, well, men, they always playing tricks on women. Men stink. Men are no good. They say one thing, but they really mean something else. So, little comments like that. And then a lot of people were saying both because they were saying it takes two to tango. You got to have accountability, and 9 times out of 10, accountability is on both parts as far as one. That was a really good answer. I think somebody else said, and mind you, with so many comments, and thank you guys once again for, listing your comments. But there was another one that really stood out to me that said, you can try to blame one side all you want, but 9 times out of 10, both parties may have issues, and those issues have to be addressed. It was so much. In my personal opinion, I believe both parties are the reason why dating is complicated. It's not just a man thing. It's not just a woman thing. Now, what you think is so much against you depends on your sexuality and just you as an individual, right? But as far as it goes, I say both parties are at fault because both parties have done numerous things to make dating difficult. There are men out here that can be very shisty, that do, play the player game and, break women's hearts and don't treat them with respect and act like jerks and buttholes. But you also have some women out here that do the same thing. You have women that are egging these guys along. You have women that are very insensitive to a guy's feelings. You have women out here that like to play the field as well, just as much as men. You also have women out here who just have the mindset of, oh, I'm going to just get his money and then I'm going to go and move on to somebody else, leeching off somebody else. So both parties have their own faults to play when it comes to dating. It's not just a man thing. It's not just a woman thing. A lot of times people will say, well, female nature this, well, guys that. Look, it's a combination of the two, okay? You may very well have situations where it may have been a lot of women that have done you dirty. You may have been in situations where a lot of men may have done you dirty. But regardless, from an overall scenario, both parties are at fault, and both parties need to talk it out and figure out what we can do to come up with a solution so we can make dating, more pleasant again. So we can actually turn dating into things that are long term, you know, long term relationships, marriage for those who believe in marriage, you know. Those are all important factors that we as people have to consider, right? So there's another point that I wanted to bring up real quick, and then we're gonna go end this video on this note, and that would be the accountability piece, which I briefly talked about a few minutes ago. Accountability is so important when it comes to dating, y'all. And accountability, it looks like so many different things, but I guess to kind of sum it up as quickly as possible, when it comes to accountability, that factor of accountability really plays a role in what type of individual you are and how you are looked at by other people. We have to be accountable for our actions when it comes to dating. I always tell people it's very similar to the word of God. Let your yeses be yeses, let your nos be nos. If there's someone you're not interested in dating, let it be known. Don't sugarcoat it for them. Don't try to go along for the ride. Be straight up with them. If there's somebody that you want to date, let them know. Be honest. Be real. And I'm not just saying this for men. I'm talking about women too. Yes, I do believe that men should take the initiative. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman letting the guy know how she feels. I'm just saying. In fact, I respect it because it's not easy for anybody to tell somebody how they feel. And it's not looked at in traditional society that a woman would say something. Normally, a man should say something first, which I agree with that. But just saying, you know what I'm saying? Also, know when you're wrong in a relationship or potential relationship or even the talking stages. You know what I mean? Like, be able to have that accountability piece to where, you know, if you're not putting forth enough effort or if you're not doing something like this or that, that you can go back and recognize that what you were doing was wrong, what you are doing is wrong or not where it should be, and be man or woman enough to be willing to find a solution and to talk to your partner and even humble yourself and ask them, hey, what can I do to improve this? What can we do to improve that? So on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? That accountability piece is extremely important. And I think that's one of the top 5 problems with dating these days. Nobody wants to be accountable. Nobody wants to be held accountable. And when they are held accountable, they shuck and jive and hide. I had a situation like that before where things weren't working out between me and a woman. And, you know, I held her accountable for her actions. And she didn't like that. She tried to call me out. So I pretty much ended the situation that we had right then and there. We weren't even like officially dating. We were just getting to know each other. And I was like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I wish you the absolute best. And this woman caught an attitude with me. And I haven't spoken to her since. And mainly because she was not willing to be held accountable for the actions that she took. You know what I'm saying? An accountable individual is a strong individual. Okay? Let that be known. But anyways, that's about it for tonight's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, this is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays. Here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button to stay up to date with all of my videos. Remember, we have a video coming towards you for the next 3 days, for Wednesday, for Thursday, and Friday. So make sure you keep your notifications on. Make sure you have that bell rung so that way you can see the premieres, what time it premieres, and, you know, what time... just everything is going to get dropped in general. All right. Love you guys. God bless. Hope you guys have a great evening.